So today we're taking a quick spin in a brand new 488. And when I say brand new, this car got picked up last night. It's only got like 200 miles on the clock. In fact, I'm told it is the very first 2019 488 in the US. And it's a pretty cool one. This one has a lot of options, including this blue color, which I forget the name of, but it's very similar to the blue of that last 458 that I drove. And the paint color alone is over $100,000. That is an option, a paint option over $100,000. So the sticker price on this car, I believe, was not the normal $250,000 you pay for a 488, but $420,000 because of the options in this car. Woohoo! I better not crash it. And of course, there's a lot of small changes between this, the 488, and the older 458. On the outside, not so much. Obviously, there's styling changes. On the inside, big changes. Obviously, this has now got a turbocharged V8, which makes it a completely different animal to drive. The power is intimidating, almost a little terrifying. I get pretty sweaty, shaky hands when I'm driving this car. It is ludicrously fast, and because of those turbochargers, you're getting all that power from the get-go. Yeah, incredible machine to drive. Obviously, it's also got a new gearbox, and whoa, the improvements in the gearbox are noticeable as well. Very smooth changes instead of the bang changes that the 458 had. But many other little subtle changes on the outside, better headlights. It's now got a backup camera. It's got the active brake calling now, which I think is called DRS or something. Many little mechanical improvements. On the inside, it looks very similar. In fact, the first thing I noticed is that for once, they've left the steering wheel alone. Steering wheel is pretty much the same as in the 458. The only difference being now that the start-stop button allows you to stop the car as well as start the car. The screens are now high resolution. You can now get a Bluetooth device. Welcome to the 2000s Ferrari. Yeah, you go ahead. Actually, it's pretty funny. The owner of this car, who's a friend of mine, I'm making him drive my Golf today as the camera car. So he's pretty impressed with a 170 horsepower Golf. Back to the changes on the inside. The screens are now high resolution. You now get screens for turbo response and turbo pre-charging, that type of thing. There's now a little key slot down here for the key. Key no longer goes into the car, it's all remote key. There's a new pit lane button, which is the cruise control. There's an option on the passenger side now that allows the passenger to see what speeds and revs you're doing, which is pretty neat. It gets far better miles per gallon. The 458 was lucky to get 9 or 10 miles per gallon. You can actually get in the 20s in this car because of the turbochargers, obviously. It now has electronic dimming mirrors. The suspension lift works a lot more quickly now as well, this button here. There's now the F1 braking light on the back. There's a cool new little magnetic battery tender charger slot at the back. The keys now have a memory function in them, so it remembers where all your seat settings and your steering wheel settings and all your other settings within the key, much like other cars have had for decades. But of course, the biggest difference is that engine, and it is crazy. Let me show you. Very intimidating, this car. You might be asking yourself, how is it that I'm taking a $420,000 brand new Ferrari all the way to the red line when it's only got 200 miles on the clock? Well, of course, these cars come pre-broken in from the factory. Ferrari are perfectly happy with you. Leave the dealership in a cloud of tire smoke. What I noticed when giving it the beans like that is that it's a lot more planted than the 458. It's not as skittish as that car was. So you can have a little bit more fun with it and get into a dangerous level of speed because it gives you a lot more confidence in driving it. The sound is different. It's very loud inside this cabin. Obviously they've done a magnificent job in letting the sound of the engine come through, even though it's got the turbochargers on it. You know, I think we'll always prefer the naturally aspirated sound, but this is a pretty amazing sounding car. And I've only got it in race mode. I dare not put it in the higher up, kill yourself modes. So they've taken a great car and they've made it even greater. They've taken a fast car and they've made it a lot faster. And they've just added a lot of mod cons to it as well. Hang on, let me toot at these kids. Where's the horn? Figure where the horn. A school bus of kids waving. Okay, back in my little Carrera 4S because we're going to do a little drag race, as we should. I'm very confident of a win here, partially because I've had so many successful wins in the past, and also because, well, he may have more horsepower, torque, a better gearbox, etc., etc. I have a rear wiper. Never underestimate the rear wiper, friends. I've got a rear wiper. You don't. Don't underestimate the power of the rear wiper, my friend.
True. That adds 500 horsepower.
I don't want to say 500 horsepower. I just want to say a lot of horsepower.
Yes, enough to destroy me.
Exactly. So I don't want you to feel bad about your new car, but you know, if you win, if you win, it's just because I let you.
I'll take left lane.
You take left.
So on 3, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Ready?
So do it on the beep, so we're not on the phone.
Go. Okay. Demolished!
I destroyed you!
Alright, one more time, quickly. 3, 2, 1, go! Yeah,
I started in 3rd gear.
Yeah, I started in 2nd. It's a little... Maybe if you start in 6th.
Okay, let's try that.
Okay.
Get down to 6.
Okay. I'm in 6. 1, 2,
3.
He's beating me in 6th gear. This is irritating. Yeah.
Okay, do you want to try another pull where I start in 7?
No, I think we can say that it's a slightly faster car than mine. The big part is just that extra torque. That thing has just got endless wells of torque, doesn't it?
It is annoyingly fast. It's the turbos though, because there is no lag. They kick in instantly.
Yeah, the 488 is just an incredibly fast vehicle. Possibly one of the fastest cars I've ever driven, and terrifyingly so. It certainly makes for an exciting drive. I think it is a little bit of a cop magnet, but small price to pay for such an exciting vehicle. Anyway, we'll head back to my place and we'll have a quick look around the inside of the 488. This is a very tastefully done car. I mean, a lot of money's been spent on this car, getting it just right, and I really like this configuration. Okay, so back at my house, so we can have a closer look at this, this external blue color. Blue Helena Stratos, I think it's called, something along those lines. Expensive blue, we'll call it. But regardless of which, I say big thumbs up to any Ferrari that isn't the basic red, yellow, white or black. Yeah, blue Ferraris are a big favorite of mine. It's a very pretty car. Obviously a very expensive color, but yes, I really think these custom colors are beautiful. Oh, and by the way, this is where the active brake cooling fans are. Those things pop down. Onto the interior, also pretty tasteful. 2-color interior, a bit less garish than the last Ferrari we looked at. This blue stitching to match the external color of the car throughout the interior, on the seats, on the door pillars, all around, and blue leather as well to match the stitching. So pretty much a 2-color car. I think very tastefully done. It may not be everyone's taste, but yeah, I really liked it. And overall, you know, this is just a beautiful machine. It's nice to see some modern equipment finally making their way into Ferraris, so it makes it just a little easier to live with. Something I did notice is that we already have a few warranty issues. A little bit of thread on the seat there that needs to be fixed up. And outside here I noticed some condensation in this indicator. Not a big deal, will be fixed under warranty, and of course all new Ferraris get 7 years of free maintenance, which is pretty cool. So yes, this is the 488, an amazing car. Maybe it doesn't sound as great as the naturally aspirated predecessors to this car, but yeah, certainly a great deal faster, more stable and easier to drive with many new toys. So I wanted to thank Dan for bringing his car along. It's just an awesome day driving this machine.